I guess hope all of us are doing fine. My name is Ernest, and this is Ernest Sciences and Mathematics TV channel. So, in my channel, I deal with different subjects ranging from mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology, and of course, other application areas. So, we normally do the theoretical work and some of the application questions in terms of a problem set. And in this specific video, I'm going to look at the complements and supplements, or this complements and supplements, and these are going to be under the topic of product topic of geometry. Now, in our various videos that we have done on aspect of geometry, we have just mentioned that we are going to use the concept of pi radians or radians and degrees in angle measures. So in this particular case, I'm going to use the concept of degrees in trying to evaluate this angle measure. So we said that we can be able to do an measurement of angles using a circle, which is going to form, of course, a complete set of 360 degrees, which is equivalent to 2 pi radians. So in this case, I'm going to use the concept of degrees. And of course, we said that we're going to measure degrees along the x-axis and, of course, this particular segment or array that is going to extend along the anti-clockwise direction over this specific circle. So we're going to have measure the angles in the first, second, third, and the fourth quadrant over this specific angle or this specific circle. And in that case, we said that if an angle is going to make up 90 degrees, then therefore we refer to that one as an angle. So this terminal side is going to stretch to a point of 90 degrees from this x-axis. And then we said that this terminal side is going to move along this circumference for the angle measures. And then at this specific point, which is a negative x-axis, it's going to form 180 degrees. So this is 90 degrees, 180, this is 270 degrees. And then at this specific beginning point, the full circle is going to have 360 degrees. So there are various names that we're going to come across, some angles which are going to maybe add up to these particular points, especially for the positive y, negative y, negative x, and a full cycle of 360 degrees. So therefore, we're going to come up with terms like the complementary or supplementary angles, whereby in this specific case for the complementary angles, which is a derivative of the term complement, are going to refer to two angles whose measure is going to add up to 90 degrees. So two angles which are going to add up to 90 degrees are going to be referred to as complementary angles. For that case, of course, I can just give an example of this, just a section of the first quadrant, which is xy. So it's showing the positive x and y Cartesian coordinate system. Therefore, we're going to have a stretch of 90 degrees, and therefore n2 angles, let's assume that is x and y, which are going to add up to 90 degrees. These respective angles are going to be referred to as complementary angles. And if we perhaps give them in specific form, I can just give a complementary pair like 60 degrees is going to be a complementary angle with 30 degrees. 70 degrees is going to be having a complementary angle of 20 degrees. And so therefore 80 degrees is going to have a complementary angle of 10 degrees in that specific order. So long as these two pair or a pair of these two is going to add up to 90 degrees, then therefore that is going to form a complementary angle. So this, in this particular case, then therefore I'm going to just take a note that the complementary angles need not to be in the same plane as I've just mentioned, or maybe they are not supposed to be necessarily next to each other. Therefore, I can be able to have a range of angles, perhaps in a triangle, which are going to be, so this 90. If it is x and y, in contrast to this, these are just adjacent angles which are just next to one another. But for this one, x and y are just far apart, and therefore they're going to form what we call a set of complementary angles. So next, I've mentioned the concept of supplementary angles, and of course we are also going to look at these specific concepts and see what are the supplementary angles. So just like complementary angles, supplementary angles are two angles whose measure is going to add up to 180 degrees. So therefore we can just give an example of two angles, perhaps an acute and obtuse for x and y. So x and y are going to add up to 180 degrees. So in that specific respect, then therefore we can conclude that x is a supplementary angle to this specific angle over y, and therefore that is going to form our basis for defining the supplementary angles. So this, in this particular case, as I've mentioned, they do not need as well to be together. So in that case, if I have an angle stretch over perhaps an obtuse 100 degrees, I can have another one, or perhaps 120 degrees. I can have another one over 60 degrees, which is going to be a supplementary angle to this one. And therefore the two, if this is angle alpha and beta are going to form supplementary angles in that specific respect. So the supplementary angles are going to, like x and y, are going to form what we call a linear pair, since they are going to just be contained in a single line that I can give, for instance, for I. So therefore we can be able to call the two angles a linear pair. So the concept of complementary and supplementary angles is going to find wide application in various figures, and of course we're going to take note of the fact that whenever we mention the concept of complementary angles, this is an angle whose sum is going to add up to 90 degrees, but for supplementary angles, these are angles whose sum is going to add up to 180 degrees in that specific respect. So check our description boxes for various links of other videos which are going to assist us have a complementary way of analyzing these specific angles in our program set. And kindly subscribe to our channel for more, so that we can be getting updates on various topics that I've mentioned in the introductory part of this specific video. So that is it for now, guys. Bye, God bless you. Catch us in our next video.